Some plants just have natural engineering. In this video, I'm going to talk about plants with square stems. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. Why is it important to understand about plants that have got square stems? Well, for one thing, you don't probably need to stand and stake them up because of the square stems. They are actually completely rigid. As with this Silphium, these are amazing square stems. They're just like girders. When you see the cross section of one of these stems, it is unbelievable how well supported the whole stem is all the way up. So that is something that is really good with plants with square stems. So in this I have got Silphium, I have got a Salvia, I have got Lamium. What else have we got over here? We have got an Agastache here. We have got Scrophularia. We have Physostegia, or the obedience plant. We have Verbena bonariensis and another Salvia. So they are all plants which are brilliant, hold themselves up and look really good. So what is it about them? So I'm going to take this one down here. This is the Agastache. It's actually self-seeded itself into another pot, so that is fine. So I'm not worried about taking this off here. But the stems are really amazing. They are totally square. They are really, really rigid. You can hardly push them and make them go. That's because the corners have grown with this extra bit of strength all the way down through here. And even the small stems have got square. So what else do you need to know about square stems? The one thing you need to know is that the majority of square stems are hollow in the centre. So there is a hollow bit all the way through the centre down here. Now if you cut them above a node, and that hollow doesn't actually go right the way through that bit. So if you were to cut them in the ground and be above where there is a pair of leaves, that's fine. But if you cut them and there isn't a pair of leaves there, that hollow bit is there, and that is how a lot of these square stems plants, like a lot of the half-hardy salvias or even the ones which are on the borderline, will rot because the water gets into that hole. It's also somewhere where insects will go and grow. That's absolutely fine. But you can see all of these stems are really strong. If you can't make it be flexible anywhere in there, then it has this hollow bit. And what happens is, if you try and take cuttings from a piece of material that is really solid, it will be hollow in there, even when it is young like this. If it's flexible, then that will be fine. When you're taking cuttings from plants like Salvia that have square stems, you need to choose the right material. So if we just take a nice long bit off, because we're doing this as a pruning exercise as well, you have this square stem, and in here on the square stem it is hollow in there, or it's got pith which is also hollow. That will not root. So you need to be taking, plus when you try and bend that, it's really stiff, so that's of no use whatsoever as a cutting. These nice young fresh pieces here, however, are really flexible, and they will still have stems which are complete and entire. So you would be wanting to take nice young tip cuttings, and you would be taking them here behind a pair of leaves. We'd be able to take another one down here and another one down there, and you would just then remove the leaves at the base there. You then have really nice young tip cuttings. You'll be able to remove the top growth like so. This is no longer hollow, it's a lovely young bit of material, and those are quite nice. At the moment they are quite long stems, they look a bit longer than my normal cuttings, and that is just the way that the plant material is growing at the moment. the internode piece here between that node and that node is much longer than normal in the midsummer. So you'll find that your summer cuttings are fractionally longer than your winter cuttings. So I'll just do it again, directly behind a pair of leaves like so. Get rid of the leaves, take off this. Then you have a nice fresh bit of growth that they will grow away from. And that is your beautiful tip cuttings of square stem stuff. You are not taking it from this stuff here. You can see the difference. This is much harder to cut, and it's got this horrible white center there, which means that that bit is dead wood. There's nothing in there. So you want these lovely soft pieces like so. If you enjoy propagating, then please do have a look at the online course that we have. This is a course which will keep going. You have it and then you can go back to it, you can refer to it, and I explain about the fact that if you try and take cuttings from a plant that's got a hollow stem, and though it is the hollow bit, it will not root. If you go to the really lovely flexible bit at the top where it isn't hollow, you will get the plant rooting. In nature, nothing tidies up. So what do they do to protect themselves? Well, basically what happens is they bend over. And when they bend over and they do this and go across like so, they've sealed the stem, which means that nothing can get in there. And that is how they die back down. That is why when you are going into your garden and you've got square stemmed plants, you do not want to be cutting them all off, because you're going to have a problem. It is far better to allow them to die naturally and go over like so and create a bend. So if you imagine it standing up like this, it goes over like so. It has created a trap door effect over the top of its hollow stem, which means that you're not going to get moisture in there. Moisture during the winter turns into ice if it is freezing, and then it freezes down and then it encourages rot at the bottom of the plant. So that is one thing. Do not cut square stemmed plants right the way back down. Allow them to do their natural collapsing like this, and then they will survive much, much better. So that was one plant variety that has a square stem. That is the Agastache. This is Silphium mayo, and look, this is a huge big square stem on this. It's really solid, really firm. So this is a great plant, so that's going to hold itself up, no problem at all. This has a beautiful big yellow daisy on the top of it. Then we have this lovely herbaceous salvia here. This sends up the odd, just lovely blue and white flowers on it. This is Salvia forskaalii, really great plant. Leaves at the base here, and again square stem. So again, you want to allow it to collapse once it has finished flowering. And you aren't propagating from top bits like this. This one you take as splits at the base. So that is something that has a square stem. Then you have the Lamium, and that is the labiates. You will see, you don't think of that as being square stemmed until you actually go really close into it and you find that it has got the square stems. And as soon as you touch them, you find they're wiry, they're strong, they're holding themselves. This one is Brightstone pearl. And it's only when you get to these soft bits at the tip that you would have anything that would be good enough to take as a cutting. Everything else is far too hard and won't root. So again, this one, you could give this a haircut, because this is one of those plants whereby it produces a lot of material in the bottom and its stems are already going over to the side. So you're not going to get that water penetration into the side. But I would wait. You know, midsummer you could give it a haircut, but once you get to the autumn, leave it, wait until the spring, and then make sure that you cut it back properly then. Scrophularia, this one is a really lovely thing. This has strong square stems again. This is known as figwort. I'll let you look that one up to see what they mean. This is a beautiful variegation. It's a very clear variegation, green in the middle, white on the outside. The straight species is green leaved, and then when it goes up it has amazing little tiny red orange flowers on the top of this. This is another really great plant, and again you just let it die back down. Other things which have the square stems are your other salvias. So this one is Phyllis's Fancy, and again the stems are really strong. You can feel they're ribbed at the ends here, and they're great plants. If we take a section through, you will be able to see how the square stem is ribbed on these. I will cut a bit off this one because it's rather heavy in this pot, so it won't matter if I take a piece off it. And then we can have a little bit of a look at what this bit of square stem looks like. You've got a really lovely bit of square stem there, so it's got this ribbing all the way around. It's like a girder. It is natural engineering. They are like girders, which is why they are so strong, because they've got these long pieces here which just hold everything together. Really great plant. So that one, you can see it's really good from that point of view. So two different types of square stems. So this one is basically totally square, although once you get up a little bit further it's more girder-like, but that one is very definitely girder-like. When you get to the Physostegia, which is the obedience plant, again it's got short internodes, which means that there's only short spaces where there are actually hollow bits, but again it's really solid, it's really upright, holds itself well. And then the one that people forget about that has a square stem is the Verbena bonariensis. This again, it's strong, it's sturdy, it holds itself up well. And again, when you cut this and see, you will see it is hollow. So don't be tempted. Leave them, let them collapse naturally. And that is the way to keep these plants which have got these hollow stems much, much better, by allowing them to, as they finish flowering and as they are completely spent, they will gradually go down like so and create this trapdoor over their hollow stem, and that will protect the base here, which is what you need, and what you need for next year. Okay, I hope that has just given you a little bit of insight into how plants are so good at creating their own natural engineering. All of the natural world is really good. We've just copied it. Thank you very much for listening, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.